All right, let's see if we can complete Branzburg v. Hayes here. I'll move on to slide 12. This is something interesting that was added to Branzburg v. Hayes. It was called the balancing test, and it was created by Justice Powell to give the widest to give reporters the best chance possible to keep their information to themselves. So here's a quote. If the newsman is called upon to give information bearing only a remote and tenuous relationship to the subject of the investigation, or if he has some other reason to believe that his testimony implicates confidential source relationships without a legitimate need of law enforcement, he will have access to the court on a motion to quash, and that is what it sounds like, to just end it, and an appropriate protective order may be entered. Now, this is done on a case-by-case basis, and this the majority opinion noted that the weight of common law and constitutional law did not favor recognizing the type of privilege the reporters sought. Concealing the commission of a crime could itself be a crime, and encouraging such concealment had very little to recommend it from the standpoint of public policy. In summary, the majority expressed rather vague support. The First Amendment does not protect journalists. Journalists have many safeguards, but not this particular one taken from the First Amendment. Of course, freedom of the press is given to us in the First Amendment. So this is a statement that I found that explains it a little bit. The Supreme Court ruled that freedom of press did not create a constitutional privilege protecting reporters from having to testify in grand jury proceedings about the identity of news sources or information received in confidence. Now here's a little bit about the justices. Chief Justice Warren E. Burger, you can go ahead through this. I want you to know these people. Appointed by Nixon. The five in this case were the five conservative justices on the court, this particular Supreme Court, and the four was the liberal justices. So go through and learn about these. Harry Blackmun, William Rehnquist, who ended up being the Chief Justice years later, Byron White, Lewis Powell, William O. Douglas. He was a liberal, and he was part of the dissent. He was part of the four. And William Brennan, Potter Stewart, and Thurgood Marshall. And the reasoning for the decision: the court divided sharply on the issue of whether or not the First Amendment affords the press a special testimonial privilege. The majority supported the idea that the First Amendment protects a right to gather news, but said that the right did not extend to protecting confidential news sources at the expense of withholding information from valid grand jury criminal investigations. Why am I not